I think for me at least, like when I was younger, as I said, I would, spend a lot of time thinking about writing, and I'd read a lot of books, but not necessarily see myself in them. And for context, I was born in 1985, so like it's not like super before times when there probably would have been like a lack of trans and non-binary literature. And often the only reason for that was the fact that throughout history, we've been continuously erased as people. There's been, a lot of people wanting to dispose of any kind of trace of us, which is why a lot of folks now think that trans and non-binary people are only just now coming into light. But it's kind of, we've always been here, but it's been a hard road to see ourselves, especially in art and in writing. And so, yeah, going from being like a young person, looking in libraries, like my local mobile library, being like, where am I? I can't see myself, to now is just absolutely incredible. There's so many books that you can get at almost any bookshop that will, or, any library that will show you who you are, no matter what, your marginalization is, or no matter who you are as a person, no matter what you're looking for, and especially for trans and non-binary people and like LGBT people in general. There's a lot more being published, which is amazing, and I'm so glad that is the case. Means I have too many books to read. Big to read pile. But yeah, pretty much I feel like that's the trajectory. I've never not wanted to write. There's always been this compulsion to share a story and share not only who I am, but to share the story of my other like trans and non-binary siblings and stuff. But I basically can't not write. There's this incredible compulsion to share my story through that medium. And there's like a lot of other things that I do, like I make zines, I make Bitsy games, which are these kind of little online pixelated games, and like lots of different mediums that I dabble in. But writing is why I write, is because writing is something that I don't think will ever leave me. Like I can't not do it. I feel like there's a lot of my writing has, a lot of the everyday in it, and a lot of the time I'm looking to normalize, trans identity, and so a lot of the work is about myself, about my loved ones, and so that's certainly something that inspires me. There's also that thing, I guess, with poetry, and I don't know if this is the same with a lot of other writing mediums, but with poetry, all I'll have to look at is one thing and I'll go, that's it, that's a poem. And I don't know how or why that is the poem, but whatever it is I've seen, like a moth or something, I know that I need to write about that moth, its colors, where it came from, whatever the case may be. I need to study that in order to write a poem. And it's strange, like I guess other people might take a photo, other people might kind of, I don't know, just look and go, that's a nice moth. Whereas for me, my inspiration, like I need to write about that immediately, and those kind of sparks come from almost anywhere. But yeah, a lot of the time it is kind of that everyday kind of, who I am as a person and the life that I live, and very sounds very down to earth. No, it's pretty much never off. I think I really like that term, like a poetry radar. It's absolutely never off. I'm always thinking about something, or just, I guess there's that kind of childlike fascination maybe that artists have with the world, where, as adults, we're maybe taught to not look at things with that kind of sense of wonder, whereas I look at everything with kind of like a childlike sense of wonder, and that sort of is a really nice catalyst or avenue in order to be able to write. I can, look at something in a different kind of way. So no, the radar's never off. Oh, I was like, no, three things I have to keep in my head. I'll do a trajectory again. So I started, a little kid, very enthusiastic about writing. And my dad tells this story about how he still has little tiny books that I made when I was a child, which is delightful. And then after school, I studied creative writing at QUT. I also spent time working in community radio. And so, I've had like a lot of awesome experiences that have kind of led me to now being, so I not only write, the work that I do, like the poetry collections that I'm working on. I also run my own journal called NB Life, which is for non-binary and gender diverse creatives. Anyway, I never thought I would be sort of in this position, and it's incredibly humbling to kind of be here and be, seen and be, have my work showcased, because I feel like there's a lot of people who also want to write poetry, and especially if they're also, from a marginalized community, they can see that it is doable. It's like totally a viable thing to, to be in this kind of position, which is awesome. Yeah, I think so. And I think like there is that kind of lack of ego almost attached to the writing. So if you're writing for yourself in a community, and then if others happen to enjoy that work, that's incredible and beautiful. And I guess, it does sort of showcase how open people are to, reading something that maybe, they haven't thought of before. And especially with a lot of people on the shortlist, like, from different backgrounds that, aren't their own. And I think that really does highlight, Australian readership. Like, it's really amazing. Yeah. My golden rule for producing quality work. I reckon if this is like maybe advice, or I guess, just my golden rule, don't be afraid to just write a real ratty draft. Like, one book I wrote in the last couple of years, it's like a young adult book, that's a verse novel. The first draft was on my phone without very much punctuation, and the spelling was awful, and the characters changed their names throughout because I'd forgotten who was who, and it was chaos. And I feel like so long as you're getting something down on the page, that's awesome, or on the computer or on your phone, it doesn't matter where it is. Are you getting something down? Great, fantastic. Then you can edit it later. You might find that all of it's a bit ratty and you just want to pick a certain thing to focus on for like your next poem or your next book. But I think like, golden rule, don't be afraid to write something that's absolute, like that looks like trash, but probably has like an amazing amount of like gold to mine in it, honestly. I think people are afraid to, like, there's that kind of writer's block thing of being terrified at your computer because you must produce something that is of quality straight away. And a lot of people don't see that drafting process of the absolute like dog poo pile of work that you've produced that got you to, something that's like of quality. A little bit, if I'm trying something new, I feel like it's even more chaotic. But yes, I do feel like I'm able to be more succinct and kind of able to produce maybe a slightly less dodgy first draft on the first go. There's less editing involved every time around, I reckon. I think this is really interesting because like especially like trans and queer, like teenagehood is kind of fraught with a lot of feelings and like sometimes confusion and heartache. So yeah, that's kind of, it's quite a emotional question for me. I think I'd probably tell my teenage self that the books that they're looking for in the library will be there one day. Like one day you will find those books that you were looking for all along, and it might take until you're an adult. It took me until I was about 25. But those books will be there, and one day 2 of those books will be yours. I feel like don't let anyone tell you that you can't write or that you can't, produce something. Like there's so many avenues for publication, and you can go down the route of like publishing your own zines and that kind of stuff as well. And there's so many different publications out there. Like I reckon just go for it, to be honest. Like don't let anyone tell you that you can't do the thing. Like I was told that I couldn't write, and that and this was by people who were reading my work and teaching me that I couldn't write and that I wasn't a good writer. And that's I was like, am I allowed to swear? That's not good. Like, it's not encouraging, because people who are developing a craft need encouragement, and often it only takes that little bit of encouragement or feedback or whatever the case may be, or reading the right book at the right time, and then suddenly you're off and you're, writing your best work. So yeah, I think don't let anyone discourage you at all. Do your thing. Even at the end of the day, if it's only, for you and you don't get it published, you still did it, and that's a huge feat to write anything. So yeah.